Welcome, 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 everyone. It is great to see you all here on our Tuesday night call. We are the 8th Chakra Company. My name is Bonnie Sachs. I'm here with Lily Winsaf, and we are just so excited about this final episode of our program. It is called Bodies and Channels, and we are going to be talking about claircognizance. Woohoo! That is a fabulous one to end this series on. These Tuesday night calls are our flagship product, and we have always been very passionate about helping people access their own information. So this has always been a free call. You can actually go back and listen to previous recordings on SoundCloud. When we had them as video, you can watch them on YouTube. All you have to do is search for 8th Chakra. Lily and I founded the 8th Chakra Company with the purpose of helping people master what it is to be human. We understand that we know very well how to be spiritual. We are normally spiritual, but then we come into these bodies and we're like, what the heck is all of this? So we have loved having these conversations with you about spiritual matters, about real life, how it shows up. And in the process of these conversations, we know that our frequency is going up, which is always very cool, but it's even more awesome to have our frequency going up, but also have some knowingness, right? To have some information, like, you've heard this before. Okay, I got that. I understand it. So we are both Akashic record readers. We are mastery level alchemists. We have been studying for more than 2 years, if you can believe that, Lily. Wow. Alchemy. And so we bring all of that to the table, and we're really excited to share it with you tonight.
Oh my God. Well, while you are talking, Bonnie, there's a major download coming through for us from Source. I was telling Bonnie just before we went live that I was feeling this huge connection with Source, and how Bonnie and I, one of the things that makes us unique, and there's a lot of things that make us very unique, but one of those things is that we work intimately with the angelic realm, and we have huge support from Melchizedek, Council to Source and Supreme. It's an amazing group of light beings that are backing us up and supporting us and helping us to provide for you the information that we bring in, along with the Ascended Masters and another angelic realm that we work with. So that's amazing. And I'm definitely feeling a huge download right now coming in for all of us. And I was telling Bonnie just before we got on the call, Bonnie was present to like a celebration, like a party. And I started seeing all these like Caribbean colors and fruits and like aliveness, pineapples and papayas and bananas and like all this like calypso music. And so we were both really present to this amazing party situation and like celebration. And that's really what we're here to do, is to help you celebrate who you are and the truth of who you are. We're very, very committed to you connecting with who you are from the standpoint of your soul perspective and source perspective. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Claircognizance is absolutely my favorite divine channel. Thank goodness, because if I didn't have claircognizance, I would have the most unworthiness of any being on this entire planet, because half the time I don't see, I don't hear, I don't feel. And all those channels have really come alive for me in the last year. So I'm seeing more, feeling more, and hearing more. But the claircognizance, oh my gosh, that's been the channel that has saved my butt. So I am really excited to share with you how you can open up your claircognizance and know more today.
Absolutely. And then I'm only half following you because I have all this like party music going on in my head. Did we talk about the intention?
No, we didn't. But I was supposed to talk about the intention. We always have an intention, and we invite you to have your own intention as well. Maybe there's something in your life right now that you really want to have some clarity around, that you don't want to believe about it. You don't want to have faith about it. You don't want to hope about it. You want to know that this is the solution for it. So maybe bring that to the party and expect that your divine channel of claircognizance will give you the knowing that you need to know. Our intention, as we are sending it now, is to help you to remember how powerful this information is and to make it available for you and to bring in information from the angelic realm and Melchizedek about the claircognizant channels, and to also clear low frequencies, assist you in clearing low frequencies and bringing in light and bringing in high frequencies so that you can know more through your claircognizance channel.
Woohoo! So this is how it works. I think probably everybody has been on at least one of our calls, but we're going to do it just in case. The first half of the call, we're going to have a discussion, and a discussion usually means that we are having an interaction back and forth. So that's your part, is to ask questions. You can type them into the chat. If you go down to the bottom of your screen, if you're on a computer, you can click on the chat and it'll open the window so that you can chat. You can also be the brave soul that raises your hand and wants to speak and actually talk to us. That works as well, but we really want to have a discussion with you. One of the coolest things is when we do the second part of the call, where we bring in wisdom from Melchizedek and from our souls, is when they are connecting it to what has been said earlier in the evening. So that is always really cool for me, because it's like somebody is actually paying attention to what we're saying and giving us information about it. So please participate in the first half of the call, and then in the second half of the call, we're going to be bringing in information, and then we will always answer your questions if you put a question up, and we're going to wrap it up promptly at 8:30. So get ready.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, as we said, today is the last episode of this series. It has been an amazing series for us. Bonnie and I love talking about the light bodies and the channels, and she and I have been very busy clearing low frequencies from our own light bodies and channels so that we can see more, hear more, feel more, and know more, and also experience the highest possible frequency of health and love throughout our entire bodies. We have 4 light bodies, and we've talked about them, well, the 4 main light bodies that we've talked about since the beginning of this series. So if you missed any of those calls, please do what Bonnie suggested and go on SoundCloud and look us up, and on YouTube, because the information that's there is absolutely mind-boggling, and you will just love to be able to hear that information. And if you did join us for those calls, listening to them again will completely show up for you in a different way, because your frequency has raised. Every time you join us on a call, your frequency goes up, and it never goes back down. So that means each time you hear us, you're hearing us from a higher frequency, which allows the downloads and the beautiful healing that comes through from the angelic realm to come in for you at a higher frequency, providing you with more and more healing every single time. So that's really, really cool. Okay, Bonnie, why don't you kick this off? Let's talk about claircognizance. So, you know, the thing about you know what you know, and then there's what you don't know, and you know, there's all kinds of little plays that we can do on that words, and I have stuff to share from even my childhood, but I want you to talk about, because I know this is one of your favorite Claire channels too.
It is absolutely my favorite Claire channel, and you know, all of these are divine channels of communication. It is what all of us have. Every single person on the planet has claircognizant channels, and just in case you didn't catch it, they also have clairvoyant channels, you know, clairaudient channels, clairsentient channels, all of these things that we've been talking about, every single person on the planet has. Now, the claircognizant channels, I love that I was checking in with my information and I was like, okay, so the claircognizant channels are blue. And it was like, nope, they're gold. So this afternoon, I was like, okay, can you be more clear about this? And the way I saw them was very much gold with kind of sparkles in them, claircognizant channels. So just to go back, let's see if I can actually do them. So our clairvoyant channels are, can I do them? Our clairvoyant channels are green. And our last week we did our clairsentient channels, and those are like a peach color or a light orange color. And then we also have our what did I do?
Our audience
is blue. I might have buoyance and whatever. Okay, I'm not going to try to do it. We're in gold, 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 gold. And the way I now can remember that is when we're talking about our claircognizant channels, our claircognizant channels are our most, Thank you, Eileen. Eileen just popped up a message privately to me. Yeah, clairaudient is green and clairvoyant is blue. Our claircognizance, though, is the strongest of our clairs. And the reason why is because we promised we were going to tell you this from last week. The reason why is because it is very difficult for low frequencies to mess with your claircognizance. It is really hard for a being. If you have a being in your clairaudient channels and you're not clear that you're talking to your soul, you may be talking to a being. And it might sound like information that is really true and clear, but it is still a being and it is not your soul. When you are talking to your soul through your claircognizant channels, it's a very different thing. It's really, really difficult to mess with your claircognizant channel. So it's the one we all really want. We want to have this sense of knowing, this clear sense that you just know that you know that you know. And there might not be any logic to why you know. You just know that you know that you know. Is that how it shows up for you, Lily?
Yeah, it does. Well, the thing that's so interesting about knowing is that when you know, there's not one shadow of a doubt. There's zero confusion. There is zero doubt. And when you're not listening to your soul, or when you're not listening to your pure channel of claircognizance, you can absolutely experience doubt. So something can sound, or it can look, or it can feel real and true, and it might have elements that are true. But if there is one little tiny iota of doubt, then it is not coming from your claircognizant channel, because when you are truly connected with your claircognizance, there is no doubt, there is no confusion, none of that. And so even though it's the most exciting channel, it's also the most elusive, because I would say that 95% of the time, any of us that are receiving any kind of information is somehow shaded with some kind of doubt or some kind of confusion. And that's coming from all those low frequencies that we keep talking about, such as fear, such as pain, and it could be foreign energies and foreign beings, like Bonnie was mentioning. But a lot of times it is low frequencies that come from belief systems or thought patterns that we have held throughout our life, and which could also be through other lifetimes, where we have been clouded with pain and fear and unworthiness, etc. Unworthiness is a huge low frequency that keeps us from knowing, keeps us from feeling, keeps us from seeing, keeps us from hearing. So unworthiness is one of the low frequencies that, oh my gosh, that's like one of my number one commitments to rid the planet of.
For sure, because I've had a lot of issues with worthiness and feeling like I'm getting my information. And I think after our Tuesday night call last week, I met up with some people, and I had some people ask me very specific questions like, but how do you know that you're hearing your soul? But how do you know? How are you sure? And it's, when we're talking about claircognizance, it literally just is that you know that you know that you know. Like, you know what your name is, you know that you have the information. And I have had many times over the last couple of years where somebody will ask me, but how do you know? And the answer is always just, I know that I know. And it is just something that is that clear. And so when we move out the low frequencies, we can then access that. But it is literally, if you ask yourself a question and you just have that sense of like, this is what I'm doing. It is something that you just know and you just go with. What gets in the way is when you like, am I going to go to this party? Yes. And then you're like, you know that you're going to the party. You say yes that you're going to the party. It's very clear that you're going to the party. But, when it comes time to go get dressed, I don't know about you. I'm definitely one of those people. It's like, did I really say yes? Maybe I'm not supposed to go. Am I really supposed to go? Maybe I'm not. But it is the answer that you come up with is the answer that you go with. And if it is not the right answer, if you were supposed to go to the party, let's just pretend that you heard that you were going to the party, you got dressed, you went to the party. It was the biggest teaching you've ever had. It was something that there was no way you should have ever gone to. Then your soul wanted you to go to that party for the teaching. And that's okay if you're doing that as well. So we sometimes get caught up in the, am I supposed to go? Am I not supposed to go? Oh my God, I want to make the right decision because what if I'm wrong and I don't want the teaching and it's going to be awful and blah, blah, right? Does everybody understand that piece, how we start getting caught up in the conversation of maybe I'm not doing it right. Maybe I'm not getting it right. Trust always comes in.
Yeah. So Jill is posing a question. Is it possible that there have been times we've been claircognizant throughout our life and not really knew it? There have been times I've known that I know, but other times not so much. And you are so reminding me. I did a program once where they used to start the seminar with this concept that said, okay, in the universe, there's stuff that you know. And you know that you know it. And then there's stuff in the universe that you don't know. And you know that you don't know it. Like I know that I don't know anything about rocket science. I know that my name is Lily and that I live in Juno Beach. I know that stuff. That's the stuff that I know that I know. And then there's stuff that I know that I don't know, like brain surgery and being a rocket scientist. I know that I don't know that stuff. And then, but what about the stuff that we don't know we don't know? You can't access the stuff that you don't know, because if you don't know it, how do you know to reach out for it, because you don't know that you don't know it? And that's what this seminar used to focus on, is that realm of the stuff you don't know. And oh my gosh, it's so exciting to think that you're going to find out and know stuff that you didn't know. But I would sit in the audience and I would say, well, that's all interesting, but what about the stuff that I know that I don't know that I know? And that's what you're talking about, Jill. And that's so exciting to me, because yes, we have so much information and we know a lot, and we have been gifted with so much from source, and we don't know because we're not connected with it. That's the stuff that really interests me. And that's why Bonnie and I focus on mastering what it is to be human, because we already know what it is to be spiritual. If we didn't know what it was to be spiritual, we would have stayed in the spiritual realm. So that's the stuff we know that we don't know we know, because all of us here on this planet, we are looking for how to be more spiritual. We don't need to know how to be more spiritual, but that's in the realm of what we know that we don't know we know. So I love your question, Jill, because that's what this inquiry is about. And that's what all our channels it's about. It's the stuff that we have, the gifts that we've been given by source that we don't know we have. And oh my gosh, how wonderful it is to be able to activate all of that. And to be able to bring in those gifts and acknowledge them and step into them and be able to lead our lives from all that stuff that we have and that we know and that we have been gifted with, and that we don't even know we have it. And that's why we need bodies. We need bodies so that we can expand, so that we can wake up our awareness, so that we can raise our frequency and become more and more aware as a soul in a body, which is so, so cool. So long story short, Jill, the answer to your question is yes, absolutely yes.
Yes, and the other example of that is that throughout your life, you have made decisions. You have been asked, where do you want to go to school? What kind of major do you want? What kind of job do you want? You have been asked tons of questions throughout your life. Maybe you've been proposed to. And you accessed your information in that, right? You access, this is what I'm supposed to do. Yes, I'm supposed to marry you. No, I'm not supposed to go to that college. Yes, I'm supposed to go to this college. Yes, this is what I'm going to major in. All those kinds of events that have happened in your life were absolutely you accessing your information without you even realizing you were accessing your information. Now, if you're like me, the question I then asked is, but what about all the times that I got it wrong? What about all the times that I dated the biggest jerk in the world and that probably shouldn't have been a yes that I go out with them. And the answer to that is that was a teaching, that was an experience, that was an opportunity for you to clear karma and agreements with that person. You have, past life experiences with those people. And when you have some sort of relationship with them, maybe you worked with them on a project somewhere along the way, you actually fulfill that agreement that you had, and then you get to clear that agreement and move past it. So even when you think that you didn't know, or you think that you made a mistake, the answer is always no, you were connecting with your claircognizance. Now we bring it present, right? And we start getting worked up over it. I don't know, was this the right idea? Did I do this? We get caught up in our own junk. So yes, you absolutely have had lots of experiences with claircognizance and doing it right.
And the beautiful thing about not just claircognizance, but the other channels as well, is that the more you see, the more you feel, the more you hear, and of course, the more you know, the less teachings you have to have. So the less there will be experiences where you have to go out and date that jerk so you can have a lesson or you could have a teaching. So each time that you clear frequencies, low frequencies, and clear karma and get the teaching. So in the example of dating a jerk, if you dated 3 jerks and then you married a jerk, that means you haven't got the teaching, because you're going to continue to be with those individuals that are not in, let's say, the best and highest of interest for your highest good until you get the teaching of what you are worth. In this case, we could use that as an example. And so the more you know, the less teachings you actually have to have. And we're always going to be needing teachings, and we're always going to have teachings. But the quality of our teachings and the feel of our teachings is going to be different as we expand our awareness and as we go up in frequency. And that's really good news for all of us.
Absolutely. So the difference to me between claircognizance and intuition is that claircognizance is a clear knowing, and claircognizance comes through your claircognizant channels. It actually is very specific information. To me, intuition is kind of a feeling. It's a different kind of experience. It actually comes more through your clairsentient channels, and you kind of think that you know, is how I would kind of say it. To me, intuition does not have as strong of a backing behind it as claircognizance does.
That's a really great point. I never thought about that. Yeah, intuition to me has like a sense of a gut feeling, not necessarily guided by your soul, but more like guided from your personality almost. It's like your personality wanting to keep you safe or wanting to guide you in a particular direction, versus your soul, which is always looking for a much higher place to take you. So that's really cool. I never thought about that, Bonnie.
Yeah, well, that was the question from Taylor. And then past lives and karma. Karma is nothing more than an experience. I'm really glad that you asked this question, because karma is literally just an experience. It is that you have had an experience with another person. When I first started doing this work, I kept thinking of karma as good karma and bad karma, and I needed to work off bad karma, but good karma was a good thing. Yeah, you just throw that all out. Karma is just simply an experience. And when you make an agreement to have some sort of relationship or connection with somebody else, remember, we have made millions of agreements. We have made more agreements in this lifetime than our brains can possibly fathom. And so some of that is, that we have had experiences in past lives with these people. And so we get together on a soul level and say, okay, we're going to get together in this lifetime, and I'm going to help you understand claircognizance, and you're going to be a challenge to me in some way or another. And so that's really an explanation of past lives and karma. And then the spiritual and religious programming, we all have a ton of it, a ton. That's saying that it's painful or difficult to go up in frequency, that we have to suffer, that, if we don't, put our hands in prayer, then we're not being serious about prayer. There's an endless number of examples for that. But there's certainly a lot of spiritual and religious programming with all of us.
Yeah. One thing I want to add about karma is that the reason why we want to clear karma, because you might be asking yourself the question, well, if karma is just an experience, why do we have to clear it? And why do we have to be aware of the karma that we have with other people? That's because when we have an experience with someone, our personality judges that experience. And when we judge that experience, it has an impact on our light bodies and our channels. And so that's why we want to clear that experience. We want to let that experience stay as a pure experience rather than the impact that it has had on us based on our judgments and our interpretations of that experience. And that's why it's important to clear that karma. So when we have those experiences are meant to be had in the moment and the teaching to be experienced in the moment, and then we move on. But we don't do that. We hang on to experiences through the interpretation of how we have those experiences. And so that's why we want to clear karma and agreements between other people, because it can have a negative impact based on our interpretation and how we are assigning it or judging it.
Absolutely. That's good. That's a good point. Now I'm like trying to read Gretchen's statement there. So it's really cool. I've been sitting while you were talking. I was like, can you give me the next piece of information? And they're like, nope. I love that. So we are clearing karma, Terry. We are absolutely clearing karma. We are constantly clearing karma. And in fact, we're telling people, you can actually practice it every single morning when you wake up. Let me clear karma and agreements with all of the people that I'm going to be getting together with today. Today I went to the dentist. I wanted to make sure that I cleared karma and agreements with everybody who was going to be at the dentist's office. We want to do the same thing at night, is make sure that we've cleared karma and agreements as much as possible, because what happens is we go up in frequency, more karma and agreements are available to be cleared. So it's just something that we always want to do. That's the reason why we are here in bodies. Right, Lily?
Absolutely. And to address Gretchen's question, to clarify, I've had a strong feelings with no doubt, and then later the doubt and low frequencies caused the doubt to creep in. Was that claircognizance, and then personality or ego, low frequencies get in the way? Absolutely. We have our claircognizant channels are always trying to inform us of truth and inform us of what's so. And part of our experience here in these human bodies is to deal with the low frequencies that creep in and interfere with not just claircognizance, but all our channels. Last week, we talked about the clairsentient channels and how for a lot of people, being clairsentient is like a curse, because you're experiencing information through your sensation, through your bodily feelings, what you're feeling on your body, which often is interpreted as pain. And when we're experiencing pain, of course, our interpretation of that is that we don't want the pain, unless, of course, you're an athlete and you adhere to no pain, no gain. Then you want the pain. So yes, absolutely, Gretchen. It is low frequencies interfering. And that's why we have to be just like a no mofo kidding about our claircognizance and all our channels, and know and trust. Bonnie used the word trust. We use the word trust a lot in these calls, because trust is exactly what helps us to stay tuned into and aligned with our truth. Sometimes, because there is doubt that creeps in, sometimes trust is all we have until we get to the point of the knowing, until we get to the point of experiencing love, which is, of course, the only truth. So yeah, it's very interesting. Great questions so far, guys. You got some really awesome questions, everybody.
Some really awesome questions. And for David, who was just talking about Karma Chameleon, I do hear that on a regular basis, that song from Boy George. And yes, everybody can now have that earworm of Karma Chameleon in their heads. And that is karma, right? Of course, it's karma. So what else did I miss a question? God, I'm like, I've really got this party constantly going on in my head. I'm like, you all could like get out of there and stop having that party going on.
Well, I would love to mention why claircognizance is so important and so special in my opinion, is because all the other channels, we can literally, with the other channels, we can be fooled much easier. And Bonnie alluded to that earlier when she said it's harder for beings or low frequencies to get into or impact our claircognizant channels. Whereas when we see something that we see with our clairvoyance has the ability to shape shift. It can actually shift, or it can be like a chameleon, and that's the karma chameleon, so we could look at we could see a tree, but that tree could be a dinosaur disguised as a tree, because the way that visuals and images are created, the matter that they're created from is very pliable and can be moved and shifted. And the same thing with sensations, and the same thing with voices and sounds. We can hear a sound that might be muffled or might be disguised as something else. And so that's why the claircognizant channels are so, so important. And we are in this, the knowing that we have is that first and foremost, we should develop our claircognizance channels. Our claircognizant channels, the most important channel to develop. Because once you know, then when you are receiving information through the other channels, you can compare it to, or you can put it up against your claircognizant channels. So if you see a tree, you can then, through your claircognizant channel, say, is that really a tree, or is it something else? I'm seeing a tree, but is it something else? And then your claircognizant channels will say to you, it looks like a tree, but it's really a tarantula. And then you'll know that it's a tarantula. You got to deal with a tarantula. It's not just a tree, it's a tarantula disguised innocently as a tree. And that helps us to deal with the vast array of experiences that there is to have in the multiverse, because we are being bombarded by all kinds of experiences all the time. Low frequency experiences, middle range experiences, high frequency experiences. Some are good, some are bad. We judge them. Some have negative impact. They're all here to teach us something. But the faster we understand that that's not a tree, that it's a tarantula, the faster we're going to be able to move from whatever that tarantula has to teach to us. If we're dealing with a tarantula like it's a tree, it's going to take a long time to get the teaching.
Absolutely. And that is great information for sure for people to understand that when you know, when you can look at it, you get the information, you understand that. The word that I would use instead of developing these channels, the word that I would use is clearing these channels. We want to clear these channels. And the reason why we specifically say clear is because it is that there are lots of low frequencies. We have to think about low frequencies: pain, fear, anger, unconsciousness, unworthiness, those kinds of things. We have to think about them like matter, like something that has substance, that gets into our channels, that keeps us from accessing the information. So, Lily, did you have anything to say? Because that actually, I'm going to go in and talk about that specific thing, but I want to give you a chance if there's anything else you want to say.
Well, Jill's question about something that came up about Source being interested in having experience through us all. And the reason why that is because there's only one way to expand consciousness and awareness and raise a frequency, and that's in a physical body. And so in order for Source to raise Source's frequency and expand its own awareness, he, she, they, it has to be through a physical body. And so Source expresses Source through us in physical bodies. And so every single experience that we have is adding on to the awareness and consciousness expansion of Source. So I hope that answers your question. And you're welcome to contact either Bonnie or me, and we can elaborate it a little bit more. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I love that you asked that question, because there is this element they want me to explain that, when we are souls, we decide that we want to come, or we get told that we are coming to the planet. to have an incarnation here on earth. And so that incarnation, we are souls having an experience. We want to remember that we are souls having an experience. But our soul, the way it's being shown to me to direct you all, is that our soul is trying to be able to get the information through so that we can know, our bodies can know what we are doing, what is going on, what the directions are. You know, from a very young age, if you have complete claircognizance, clairvoyance, if you have complete understanding of all that, you're having a very different experience on the planet than what you are having if you do not have access to that information. So it is very much like clogged channels. There are times I see my soul or somebody else's soul actually screaming, like trying to yell to get the information, that it's like, no, I said no, I said no. But the information can't get through, that there is just the channels are way too clogged. And when we understand that that's all that's going on, that's all that is happening with us. The reason why, if you're somebody who doesn't hear your soul, who doesn't know your soul name, who doesn't see, the only reason why that is happening, there are only two reasons why that's happening. One is that your soul is not giving you access to that information, and the other one is that there are too many low frequencies for you to be able to access the information. So it's really important for us to understand that there is nothing else that gets in the way. There is no, you know, I'm messed up, there's something wrong with me. There's none of that at all involved in this process. That it is very much like our souls want to be able to communicate with us. And the way we do communicate with our soul is by clearing the low frequencies out. That is the reason why all the frequencies are coming onto the planet. It's the reason why, as Lily was talking about, there is more radiance, more inspiration, more clarity. All of that is coming onto the planet to help us clear our channels and give more access for us, so that we can actually communicate with our souls. And it's really important for us to know that. I love that Eileen is putting in that she doesn't have a soul, that she is a soul, that she has a body. It is very much that we are souls having an experience. It's very important for us to understand that. Now, it's also important for us to understand in the claircognizance level that there is a vast amount of information. There is more information than our tiny human brains can fathom. I have been saying we have pea-sized brains, because that's very much what it feels like, is that there is so much information out there that we can't even comprehend the volume of it. But the reason why we can't comprehend that is because we do not have clear channels. So I'm going to give you an example. I love that I'm going to be doing this. You know, you may often see Lily and I creating designs and creating fractals and doing things with our hands. And our hands actually have key codes and mathematical equations and light coming out of them. And if you could see it, it's long strings of mathematical equations. I couldn't even begin to explain to you what they look like. I wouldn't be able to draw it. The best analogy I have is, what is that movie with Matt Damon, where he does all the really complex math, where it's the whole board is filled up with math, and you can pick any movie you want, but it's that kind of stuff that actually we work with when we are creating designs, when we're creating fractals, when we're doing the work that we're doing. And it is impossible for us to be able to hold that information. Our brains can't possibly hold that information, but we have the claircognizance of what it is. We know what it is when we see it, when we ask what it is, we know what that is. That is claircognizance. And it is the ability for us to just comprehend huge chunks of information that most of us can't even fathom. It's just, beyond our abilities in a human body. And so it's really important for us to know that that's the reason why we have claircognizance. That's one of the reasons why claircognizance is not like intuition. Claircognizance is so much more. When you need the information, you ask a question and the information comes. And it's a matter of trusting that when you ask for the information comes. When we're often talking about claircognizance and teaching it, we're talking about it in terms of, deciding to take this job or that job, or, go to this party or that party, because they're kind of the regular daily activities that we can understand, where you want to ask, am I supposed to be going? And you get an answer of whether you're supposed to go. But the other value of claircognizance is this vast wealth of information that when you need to know what will alchemize the pain, the fear, the anger, when you need to know what that thing is that you're looking at when you look at somebody. I was at the beach yesterday, and a friend of mine said, can you look at my shoulder? Can you look at my shoulder and see what it is? And I looked at her shoulder, and what I saw was a black box. Well, I need to know what that black box is, but my normal brain functioning would be like, oh, it's a black box. And then it's like, okay, well, what do you do with that? So the claircognizance allows me to ask more specific information. Give me more information about it. Let me know what I'm supposed to do with it. And it's beyond what I would normally be able to understand. I truly can't understand from an, I wish I could explain this any other way, but from a normal point of view, I would, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know, it's a box, it's a black box. I can't tell you anything more about that. But when I can use my claircognizance, I can get a lot more information about what that box is, what I need to do with it, how I need to dissolve it, who I need to contact if I do need to contact somebody to help me get rid of that. So claircognizance is so much more, but we start with this level of being able to connect and know your soul, being able to connect and know what is next for you. Am I supposed to be doing A, or am I supposed to be doing B? Now, they're telling me they want me to go back probably a couple of years ago, where Lily and I first started doing these programs. And we started doing these programs, I think it was actually like August 2016, seems like that's what I'm hearing. August 2000, might be July 2016, that we started doing these programs. And when we started doing these programs, what we were doing was accessing what information we had available to us. And we did them on the level that they were available. And it was really cute. You want to have fun, you need to go find one of those videos, because we used to do slideshows and we just talked on the phone. You didn't actually see us. I remember when we actually moved to video, where we were going to see each other, and Lily said, man, I'm going to have to get dressed now. I think you used to be hanging out in your pajamas. But it's important that you understand that we access the information that we had available to us at that time. And as we continue to do these, as we changed formats and we went into what we're doing right now, what we had access to changed as well. So if you go back and listen to those things, what you'll hear is our knowing from the level that we were capable of knowing at. And what you hear now is our knowing at the level we're capable of knowing at now. You compare those two, you're going to see a world of difference. And I want to encourage all of you to go back and watch some of those earlier programs. Listen to the ones that are just audio. They're absolutely amazing. And if nothing else, they're going to give you incredible hope that all of this is available for all of us, because we did not look like the people that we look at like now. And it's really important for all of you to have that awareness, to have that understanding, that as you continue to get more information, as you continue to open your channels, as you continue this path that you're on, you'll get more information, you'll get more understanding, and it will make much more sense. Trust more, trust more, trust more. Lily?
Okay, so first of all, I wasn't hanging out in my pajamas. And I would like to encourage you not to go back into old videos because they're very comical. But I absolutely agree with Bonnie that what we were bringing forth at that time is a world of difference than what we're bringing forth right now. And a lot of that has to do not only because we have more access to our own information, which is what Bonnie and I have been focusing on for 3 years and helping you to achieve that as well. And I bet those of you that have been with us since August 2016, you could also know for yourself that you're not the same person that you were back then when you were listening to us in our early days. Because you also have been going up in frequency and elevating your game. So you could also say the same thing. But yeah, don't go back and listen to them. I really don't encourage you to do that. And so it wasn't about hanging out in my pajamas or having to get dressed. It was like really a lot of low frequencies about unworthiness and, oh my God, I'm not going to look good on camera. It's going to be embarrassing. And because when I was doing theta healing and bringing in frequencies, I would close my eyes and I would kind of go into this trance. And I was just thinking, they're going to think I'm weird. They're going to think I'm like totally, totally weird. So now I don't care if anybody thinks I'm weird. And that's a huge difference from back then. Is back then I cared if people thought I was weird. Now I don't care if people think I'm weird. So I think that's progress.
For sure.
Wow. Right. You know, I was talking about when we first got on the call, being present to these very vibrant colors. And I'm still seeing them. And I'm actually seeing those colors coming through. And there was a point when Bonnie was doing the welcome, actually, right in the beginning of this call, that I was experiencing the first download of information coming in through for us. It wasn't information. It's really more like a healing, right? Because we're working with the angelic realm, with Melchizedek, with Source Creator, to bring in healing for us. And when these healing frequencies come through, they feel very warm. And so those of you that experience our healing frequencies, you can experience them as warmth in your body, or you can sometimes experience them as a little bit of a buzz in the crown of your head, or you might experience them as a little bit of vibration throughout your body if you're clairsentient. If you're clairvoyant, you might see some of the frequencies. The ones that were coming through were very orange and yellow and gold. And I'm very present to Source, and I said that in the beginning, and I mentioned that to Bonnie, and it's just become even more strong right now. And what I'm experiencing is Source giving us a very beautiful message. And you really want to listen to this, you know, because when Source talks, you want to listen. And the message is about the compassion that is felt for us, not just by Source, but the entire angelic realm. Because when we as a soul make a decision to come into these bodies, and especially on this planet, which is the lowest frequency planet that we know of, it's experienced in many ways as suffering, and it is painful. And for many of us, we've had lifetime after lifetime on this planet and on other planets as well, where the experience of that lifetime has not been all fun and games and heavenly. We experience in a body, we experience a lot of challenge and a lot of pain and a lot of suffering and a lot of torture and a lot of, oh my God, what did I do? How did I agree to do this? Tell me why I'm here again. And it's almost like I can feel the memory of my soul coming into my body as when I was a fetus before being born. And I can almost remember the feeling, wait, I changed my mind. I don't think I want to do this. Because it happens almost instantly in that moment. Our soul knows, oh boy, this is not going to be a fun ride. It's kind of like, I've done this before when I've been at an amusement park. And when I was young, I used to love going on those crazy roller coaster rides. I used to try to find the wildest, craziest roller coaster ride. But as I got older, I would maybe go on those rides because I was going with my kids who were little, but I was standing on those lines. I was like, I don't think I want to do this, and then I'd get closer and closer to be like, because I knew what was going to happen. And then when I got on that ride, I was like, okay, this is not going to be fun. And the roller coaster is going up, 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 up. And that when you get to the top, all of a sudden it's going to, and it's going to like, your stomach is going to come out of your mouth. So that's kind of like the way it is for our soul when we go into a body. We know that it's going to be a roller coaster ride, and it's going to be not a lot of fun. And there's going to be times when it's going to be really exciting. And there's times when it's going to be really fun. There's times when we're going to scream at the top of our heads, at the top of our lungs. There's times when we're going to be in the moment of the fun of it and the pleasure of it. But for a lot of that roller coaster ride, we are in fear because we know what's coming around that corner, or we don't know what's coming around that corner. So what I'm really present to is the compassion that is felt for us from the angelic realm and from Source Creator God, that like, the compassion and the appreciation for the courage that we demonstrate by saying, yeah, I'll do that. I'll come into that body and I'll have those experiences so Source can expand in awareness. I'll have those experiences so I can clear for the collective, so that I can heal, so that I can, through my healing ability and through my ability to love, and my ability to be loved, I can add on to the growth and the raising of frequency for the collective and for Source and for the entire angelic realm. And so it's with tremendous amount of courage and determination. And what's that word that Jewish people use? I should know because I've been Jewish for so long. Been a Catholic Jew for so long. Chutzpah? Is that chutzpah? Yeah, we exhibit so much chutzpah being in these bodies, and it is very much appreciated. And I'm so present in this moment to Source thanking us and like giving us the thumbs up, like you guys are doing good. You're doing good. And every time that one of us has a baby and brings a baby into the world and we give them everything that we can, all the teachings, all the knowledge that we can, every time we take a friend out to dinner and we sit and listen to them, tell us the story of how their marriage is falling apart and let them cry on our shoulders. And every time we sit in prayer, hoping that our child will come home that night because they're way past their curfew. Or every time we sit at the bedside of our elderly grandparent or neighbor who is in hospice and is about to transition. And every time we think about nourishing one of our brothers and sisters through some kind of a donation or some kind of a contribution, every time we forgive someone because they said something to us or did something that didn't exactly feel right for us, but we just decide to forgive them and let it go. Let it go. Every time we do any of those things, we are raising our frequency and bringing more love into the world. And not just into our hearts, but into the heart of humanity. And every time we bring more love into the heart of humanity, we experience Source. And we experience the reason why we're here. We experience what's really next for us is to be more of that. Because there is no truth greater than love, and there is no place else to be other than growing in love and being in love and serving. So it's a big thank you from Source for us all today. And as I'm saying that, I'm now seeing this beautiful wave of cerulean blue, which is Christ consciousness frequency coming through for all of us. And I'm experiencing it coming through above our crown. And it's actually, there's like a clearing of the dream space happening for all of us. And the cerulean blue is just kind of hovering above our crown. I'm experiencing it kind of like a little bit of a whirlwind, and but it doesn't look chaotic like a whirlwind. It kind of has that circular motion of wind moving like this, and it's coming through the crown, and it's just settling I'm not seeing it go beyond the crown. It seems to me like it's just settling right there on the top of our heads, and it's just like settling there, allowing us to experience it in a very, very gentle, gentle way. The love that is here for us to experience. So allow yourself to feel that. Allow yourself to feel these beautiful cerulean blue circle or circlet. It looks like a little cyclone, but it's very sweet and organized. Resting on, it's kind of like a little halo. Imagine a little halo sitting on the top of your head, bringing and downloading for you this most gentle, gentle frequency of love and Christ consciousness, and then enveloping your whole body very, very gently. So that's all I got tonight. I really want to thank all of you for having joined us for this beautiful series. It has been an amazing journey for Bonnie and me to be able to share with you what we know at the level that we know it. Because as you all know, most of the time we come on this calls and we don't know what's going to come through, because some of it comes from our own chakra system and our own information, and some of it comes from the angelic realm, and some of it comes from directly from source. And so, but thank you so much for being with us and letting us share with you at the level that we have been able to share with you everything that Bonnie and I know currently about light bodies and our divine channels. And I can only say that for all of us, the more that you do listen to this series, the more your frequency will go up, and the more understanding you will have, and the more your channels will open, and the more information you're going to have about your light bodies and how to experience love and bliss and joy in all aspects of your life: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So thank you, everybody. All right, back to you, Bonnie.
So yes, I want to thank everybody who popped in, asked questions. We had some awesome questions, some great conversation. I love that when that happens, because you can see it translates into great information when we get it from our own souls. We have not announced the next series that is coming up, but I do want to remind you all that we do have the Soul Basics class that is still available. We've had a number of people who have texted us and emailed us and said, please, I didn't get into it. Can I please have a copy of it? And so that is still available. You just have to email Lily or I, lily@eighthchakra.com and Bonnie at eighthchakra.com. And we are happy to provide it to you. You can just do a PayPal payment, $50, and we will give it to you. It was so amazing. An hour and 45 minutes. The information just flew out of our mouths. The time just flew by. Everybody who was on the call was just like, oh my gosh, it was amazing how much information came through, how much healing Melchizedek provided. So it was really awesome. I don't want to have you miss that at all. And then, as we've been talking about, you can always share these links with friends to be able to go back and listen to them on SoundCloud, to listen to them on YouTube. And if you want to pay me a special amount, I will make sure you get the videos that Lily doesn't want anybody. No, I'm just kidding.
She's going to blackmail me. I just know her.
Yeah. No, we're not going to do that. But they are amazing. They're filled with a lot of incredible information, and I really want to offer those up to you, particularly because they're on SoundCloud, they're on YouTube, and they are available for free. We've also got a lot of programs. We're going through an update on our website where there is going to be information available on our Ascension program. There's going to be information available on the Chakra series that we did. Lots and lots of information still around. So I see Gretchen asking if we're going to do another Akashic Records class. And there is certainly that possibility. As with everything, we are listening to our own guidance and really trusting that when that is ready to come up, that it will come up, and there will be more people who are interested in it. So
yeah, and actually, if you're in the Palm Beach County area, I am going to be doing an Akashic Records focused on the voice of your soul, how to utilize Akashic Records to connect with the voice of your soul, and that's going to be at Mystic Yoga on March 20th. It's a Wednesday.
Oh, that would be very cool. That would be very awesome. And we'll work on Lily to get her to do it online as well, because she is an amazing teacher when she does that stuff. It's absolutely awesome. So thank you all very much. Lily, do you have anything else other than how much we love them?
Well, you just took the, you just said what I was going to say. Yeah, I always end with telling you all how much we love you, and we can't do what we do without you. So thank you for showing up, and go out and love somebody tonight, and thank someone tonight, and be compassionate with someone tonight, and forgive someone tonight.
That's a great one.
Good night.
Take care. Good night.